Welcome to the podcast extravaganza. Who's hanging out on the couch?
What's up, guys? It's the Two Dans here, and it's welcome to Who's Hanging Out on the Couch, Dan.
Well, if you looked about like across the other side of the room, you'd know.
Who's in the gold apron? Well, I'm a bit blind today. But anyway, yeah, today we've got Robert, Bob Hector in them. So welcome, Robert.
Hi, Dan and Dan. Hi there.
A nice one, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to see you guys.
Yeah,
I finally found you.
Yeah, thanks for coming down. And so what actually brings you here then to the studio?
Well, locally, I was looking around for people, you know, on the internet, like you do, and found a few YouTube people, and you were on the YouTube, so I thought, well, I'll try and find you.
Was that the main reason you come here, or was
Well, my interest in the comedy you were doing, I was thinking, you know, these are the new Chuckle Brothers, you know, this was great, you know, and you
wow, thanks.
You were parachuting.
Oh yeah, the old skydiving.
So I thought I'd come to you, get some parachuting.
You want to sign me pants?
You need an autograph there, Dan.
Yeah, they saved your life, those pants.
They saved us, yeah, they certainly did.
Yeah.
Well
Luckily there's
done.
no blemishes.
Yeah, they were the clean pair.
Yeah, luckily they were.
Spanish.
Yeah,
Spanish.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Anyway, so yeah, okay. Well, thanks for coming in,
Thank
Robert.
you for inviting me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background, sort of like? What?
Well, I was in the music business as a bass player when I started out.
Oh, right, okay. So you
And,
played bass. And
yeah.
Do you play any other musical instruments? Apart from
Not
the organ,
really.
of course?
No, my dad played piano, so I was always listening to him play piano.
Oh, brilliant.
So I sort of learnt different by ear the chords that he was playing. I thought, what are you playing there? So that sort of gave me a little basic idea of chords, and never really trained. I was just self-taught.
Oh, right, okay.
And
So
I
you
got in
played
a
by
band.
So you played by ear, or could you read music? And
Played by ear. I couldn't
Played
read
by ear.
music.
Oh,
No,
right, okay.
But a friend of mine started a band, and he
Right.
said, "You're playing bass," and that was it. So within 2 weeks, I'd got locally round here in Essex. I'd been put into the club scene, really.
oh, brilliant.
So I
So you've
was
done the
playing
local
club-
circuits and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You ever been abroad to play abroad or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, just only to Europe. I was
Oh, okay.
at Europe, you know, in Spain and
Good old
Germany, playing to
Spanish.
the forces and that, you know, years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh, brilliant. Sounds
Very
like,
good fun.
Sounds like
Got
you
into trouble over there.
got into a little bit of trouble, as you do.
I was playing rock music, you know, like foreigner tracks.
Oh, okay.
Free and the Rolling Stones, and of course the Americans, they love the British rock,
Yeah, I
don't
love
they?
the old British stuff. Yeah.
So we were popular out there.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've done a bit, but then, you know, like there's points where you got no work and you're like maybe like you guys, you're trying to fill in with other work, you know, and maybe
Definitely.
So you've been in a few bands. You've travelled a bit.
Yeah.
You've sort of done the scene. And so, how did you get into studio stuff? Like, so you're into studios. Like, obviously you found
Yeah,
us. So
yeah.
thank you very much for that.
Well, I loved studios. I only went in a few times. I went to London. I went to Maida Vale when it was. I think is it still open? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you, Dan. That's fine
and-
for you, mate. Like, you know.
And then I was in Brighton where Captain Sensible was recording. And they had a big SSL console, I think, and it was like 64. Like when you couldn't see the end of it.
Oh,
it was
blimey,
right,
so
it was
quite
massive.
a long mixing. Yeah,
Yeah, they
console
just
and
got an
stuff.
SSL then back then. That was back years ago.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
then it was Captain Sensible that was recording there. But obviously, I didn't see him there, but and there was one of the punk bands that recorded there as well.
Oh, right. Cool.
But I don't know if that's still there.
So you're into the old punk stuff, right? Because we're going to be doing a new punk series, so you could be more than welcome to come down and.
Well, my friend
have
is
a
in the
jam.
Damned. He
The Damned,
was in
aren't
the
they?
Damned, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
He
Yeah.
played for about 2 or 3 years on keyboards for them as a
excellent.
songwriter.
Amazing.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
He was
that's-
like a featured guy. You
So
know,
you've been
he's
mixing
never
with the
proud.
celebs.
Yeah, he's a celeb, and
Yeah.
he's got one interview up there and a few bits and pieces on the internet. But really, he wasn't really maybe a household name, but he was with a household. The Danbury household name.
band, yeah.
They did a famous thing what's called On the Dock, where they did a song called Eloise, and
I vaguely remember that song, actually.
they did a really good
does ring a
version of
bell,
it with the orchestra.
Yeah.
And my friend, he's just really putting in the left hand chords, you know,
Like your little background.
yeah, the stabs, yeah,
The stabs,
and that's really
yeah.
doing, but it really
Not
makes
that-
us,
Not the psycho stabs, but
yeah, he's a good-looking lad on the keyboard. You see him on the shots and that.
well, we did have a keyboard player here, Barry. Obviously, Barry done our video with
Jane,
Jane,
Boys and the Toys.
Boys and Their Toys, yeah. So
Well, you could always call him Paul. His name's Paul Shepley, by the way.
Paul Shepley,
Yeah, he
okay,
lives
right.
in Essex
Yeah,
local.
big shout out to Paul Shepley then.
Paul Shepley, yeah, I'll tell
If you
him.
ever- if you ever
Get on
about-
the show.
Yeah, get him on the show. Yeah, come
Yes,
down.
he'd come
yeah.
down. He'd definitely come down.
Have a little chat with him. Yeah,
That'll be
definitely.
amazing stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, because being a local channel and he lives local, it's all creates a local interest, doesn't it? You know, it's much
Yeah, definitely.
good.
Yeah, 100%.
Find out what people are doing now, you know, from what they were doing perhaps when their careers were. There's a lot of people trying to catch up with people, see what they're doing now, you know, or they've
Yeah,
retired. But he's,
So you obviously
he's teaching now.
yeah. So he's teaching now. So do you still play? Like, do you still play bass? Do you still play the guitar?
Well, I had joint problems where I stopped for a while. But
Right.
that was a long time ago, and I was getting pain in my fingers and that. But that's all gone. But I haven't really played for
So
many
you don't
years.
dabble about with it too much.
Not
anymore?
really. I mean, I would do if there was something, you know, like someone had a project and they said, "Oh, you get your bass out," then I'd learn stuff. I'd learn it again, you know. But I'm a bit rusty.
I mean, do you still own the instruments at home? Or,
Yeah, yeah.
So you've got it there if you ever needed to.
Yeah, I bought a bass from, is it Tommen or Toman?
And yeah,
And I couldn't believe it. It's brilliant. It came through, and it just looked amazing. It sounded amazing. And I think the cost of it, I think it was £250 for a bass.
That's not too bad.
It's a
actually.
5-string. It's a 5-string.
5-string, blimey. Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, I've got
and
some
then I
verse one at home somewhere, but
had a Precision.
4-string. Wasn't it?
Just the
you got 4 skin then.
4-string. I think everyone's got a 4. Well, you know. But
I wouldn't go there.
we'll go. No.
yeah.
So yeah. Oh no. Right. So that's cool. So you've still got your stuff there. If you
I had to
ever
fiddle
need to.
about with the 5-string because it was the novelty in having the extra string. You know what you're going to do with it. Well, even if you use it just to pick out a couple of notes on the low end,
You do the
you
little
don't
harmonies
really
or something. Yeah.
you don't really need.
'Cause there was there, I saw something recently, and they're like, I think it was like an 8-string bass or something.
Oh yeah, there are some really
it was-
posh.
People on YouTube are playing like scaffold balls these days, isn't they?
Yeah.
Make their own
Ridiculous, isn't it?
bass out of something. Yeah.
Well, I think it was the Peter Gabriel bass player had something, didn't he? Is it called the Chapman stick?
Oh no.
Or is it called a Chapman stick?
Yeah, I know. Like,
Sounds
obviously
rude,
that's
doesn't
got to be
it?
something to do with Anderson.
Anderson's.
Oh, the music shop,
Oh, the
innit?
music shop. Yeah.
Because it was one of the Chappers guitars with it.
Probably them that sponsor it, Chapman stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's got about 8 strings on or more. I've never played one. But would you need more? You don't really need more than 4.
Well,
5 string.
a bass in my eyes is just 4 strings usually, and it's just a boom, 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 you know, in the background. But a lot of them nowadays, you got the slapping bass, and you got everything. You got like all
It
sorts.
depends, doesn't it, really? Like, if you're actually like, for instance, right, if you're playing disco, you know, that 5th string comes in there.
It does, yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose.
Like,
And you got
if
the
you want to get a bit of a low end, you know, if you're in a grunge band and you want to drop tune something, you know what I mean? That,
straight down and
you know, you can sometimes actually like get away with like the lower string.
It's just very handy.
So like most like seems like most like heavy grunge bands that come in and record like drop into A sharp lately. So if you've got you've got the like lowest string already on a B, you know, you really ain't dropping it that much, are you?
yeah, so you're not drop tuning it too much, but
It's like the guitarists have the old strings hitting the deck, don't they?
well, it's like guitarists trying to play a bass. Is like, you know, I mean, I play guitar mainly, but obviously.
You know, with the strings, if you detune, the strings are going to lose tension, and it can cause a problem. Maybe on the bass it sounds a bit naff, but with the extra
Well, that's why I use 135s. Imagine how thick they are.
Cool,
that's what you do, thick strings on the...
That's what I use. I use 135s. It had 105s on it.
Oh, you changed it, yeah. Is that the P bass, was it?
No, that's on the Firebird.
Oh, the Firebird, okay.
Yeah, so... The bass players I've got to mention are really Mark King, King, and then you had Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah. Mark King from
level
42.
Yeah.
Blimey, yeah, of course. He invented the slap, didn't he? Slap
More or
bass.
less. I mean, there was a few people doing it around that time, but I think in England he was like the master bass player.
the king of slap,
there was
wasn't he?
nobody could touch him really.
Yeah, back in the 80s and that, no,
I think they're still around.
they're still going a little bit now, and it's like a lot of their music now it's like the 80s is coming back, and it's like I love the 80s. I mean, we love the 80s, don't we, Dan? So,
it might be
It's the golden era for us, isn't it? You know, it's when you're a young lad, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you make us sound old now, Dan.
Well, that's when you're a young boy and that, you know, in all the films you watch, and now you watch it Netflix, nothing's really old.
Nothing's
is it?
no old,
Because it was really your childhood, wasn't
Nothing
it?
like your good old childhood days, yeah. Make sure you're back before dark, and no mobile phones, no tech, good old days.
Before that, the main bands I listened to were the bass players from the rock bands, you know, like Led Zeppelin and people like that. And then there was some ones I listened to. I should have really prepared and remembered some more names.
No,
but
it doesn't matter. I mean,
you had
like
the Free,
yeah.
great singer there.
Yeah.
Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers,
Rogers.
well remembered, Dan.
Yeah. And then you had, I used to listen to a guy called Pat Travers and the other guy, Peter Frampton and different guitar heroes, all had great
box. The talk box.
Yeah, he
talk
was
box,
one of the first to do the voice box. Yeah. And he was a great player. He's a very talented guitar player. He's in a lot of other 60s bands as well. There's loads of history you can look up, but they're great players, and the bass players in those bands were, you know, they're in the background, but they're great players, you know.
So is that some of your? So who are your favourite sort of bands from that era?
Yeah, that was it. You know,
you got a few new favourites.
Led Zepp. Led Zeppelin, and you know,
and obviously Level 42, and
it was weird because I like the funky stuff.
Yeah.
Like Level 42. Well, that came along later anyway. But I liked quite a lot of styles. I didn't really know what style I really liked more than others. I like to listen to a bit of everything, you know.
Yeah.
And try and play a bit of everything.
Well, brilliant, cool.
Because if you're sort of like trying to earn some money in music, people say, "Oh, well, I want you to play country and western tonight." And, you know, and the night before you've been playing Foreigner and the Rolling Stones, and they say, "We want you to play country tonight." And
it's a bit of a change.
You're sort of like doing the
boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom, all night, you know. And
yeah, being forgotten that. Bit of the old rednecks.
The redneck. Yeah, that one's well known, isn't it?
On the bass drum. So I mean, if you could change anything about your sort of, you know, your career as such, I would say, what would you change, and why would you change it, or would you just, you know?
Well, you obviously,
if you could go back in time, you know, if we had a time machine or something, and then you'd change something about.
Well, we're all part of this fantastic music history, but we're not all famous, are we? That's the big thing.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
I think the thing is,
I mean, would you want to be really famous? Or
now that I think about it, no, because
it's not all the people.
Yeah. I think you're going to get hounded all the time, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, whereas I've played in music and I've been the sort of the grey man in the background.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't had that focus on me. You know, like
I mean, you could still be quite famous but not known. I mean, there's still a few celebrities out there. You're not in the limelight. You never really hear of them, but they are
the session players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you know, like the people that made the American record market. You know, a few bands. There was only a few of them. They all used to be studio bands.
Yeah.
And they all used to go to the studio and work all day. It was a job.
There's a bass player for you, Carol Kay.
Carol Kay was the one that the lady. Well, I was always very jealous of Carol because she was so good, and she could play that Tamla Motown stuff. It's like,
It's the
coming
actual,
up-
it's the actual, like, the lines they invent are amazing, isn't they? Like,
yeah, the
you
bass
sit
line.
there, you listen to some of them old records, and it's not just. People don't think, like, just ain't the performance, but a lot of them musicians writ them parts.
Yeah, they did it on the spot, and
Yeah,
they-
on the spot, yeah.
or made it up, or added to the
we're
record.
used to that, Dan, aren't we? Making it up on the spot.
Yeah, but Carol Kay, I mean,
Yeah.
the stuff she used to put in was brilliant, and
And you had the Funk Brothers.
the Who,
The Funk Brothers, no?
I'm
not
not
the Who
sure
band, the
about them.
Funk
I've not really come across them.
I know there was a session band in Motown Records.
Oh, they were yeah.
They were the Funk Brothers, and like
Yeah.
literally they obviously everything from Motown was usually done by them.
Okay. So if you had a choice to have dinner with 3 people, celebrities, who would they be, and why, and where? You know, what would you have? What's your favourite dish that
Oh,
you'd have with them?
Phil Collins
Phil Collins, a legend. Yeah.
and Leyland Sklar, the bass player. I want them. They'd have to come together because they work with each other.
Right.
Leyland Sklar was the bass player on
Genesis.
most amazing stuff. Well, no, he wasn't asked to do Genesis. I think he would have liked to have done Genesis stuff, but he did the Phil Collins solo stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
With Leyland Sklar, and he lives in LA,
Yeah.
and he's worked in the studios with all them studio bands. Well, the one studio band that's been together for like 50 years. They're called the Immediate Family. Russ Kunkel, and there's on drums, and then they've been together for 50 years playing sessions.
Blimey, yeah.
They're from the LA
Half a
area.
century, blimey, yeah.
Yeah, and
decades,
they've got a band now that they're still recording with,
Yeah.
called the Immediate Family.
Oh, right, okay.
And along with all the Motown people and the Muscle Shoals and
Muscle Shoals, yeah.
and then there was another group of LA, not LA music, but a different part of America where there was a band that was similar that they used to do sessions at another studio.
Yeah.
Responsible for thousands of hits on the radio.
Oh, Christ, yeah. Okay, so what would your meal be like? What's your favourite dish? Where would you go? Like Italian, Chinese?
I eat meat.
Meat, you're
I
a meat
mustn't
eater.
say that,
Oh, it's a meat eater. Well, we're all meat eaters here, we're all carnivores.
Well, I'll have to have custard and prunes, I think, if I go out. So I don't upset
You want some
anybody.
grapes?
Dan's band. These
Yeah.
dates seen enough action.
Yeah. Wow,
So who else?
But they're being remastered. You still owe me a song there, geez. So
Sort that out,
yeah, sort that out. But
Phil Collins, I'm afraid Phil. Hopefully he's going to tour. Phil, sorry,
yeah, but like what we were saying earlier about celebs who are famous but not in limelight. Phil Collins, you never hear of Phil Collins, but yeah, he's a legend. You know, legend Genesis, and
he was
his
touring
own-
last in
Yeah,
2019.
but you never hear him on the limelight because he's like, you know, he's not one of these celebs that is like, oh, look at me, you know. But
No,
There
they
you go.
don't get the
Each their own.
publicity down there. Yeah,
Against the odds, he makes it
against
again.
all odds, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good one, Dan. I like that. Yeah, against all odds.
he was a good actor as well, Phil. And the
Yeah,
other
he
one,
was in a
what
few
was the
films,
other?
wasn't
The other band that was the Steely Dan guys. I would love to have met. You know, I think you played one of their tracks here the other day. What's called Babylon's Sister. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, the old
Well,
Steely
they were
Dan,
great
yeah.
studio producers and great songwriters. I would have loved to have met, what's his name, Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. I would have loved to have met them.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to have to sort of
Move on.
a little bit there, but you're going to be coming down a bit more regular, so we appreciate your support and your help with
Yes,
the
I'd like-
reopening and everything. And okay, so thanks, Robert. So how can we get hold of you? You got a YouTube? You got social media or anything like that we can get in contact with you, or people out there that want to be interested?
Yeah. YouTube's got a channel up with me on.
Okay, so what's your YouTube channel? We'll
It's just Robert Hector.
Robert Hector.
Yeah,
Okay, well, you
brilliant.
comment enough on our video, so what we'll do is we'll post a link up.
You'll see me there
for
with
you.
the link.
Yeah, so we'll give you
And,
a thing there.
I've got
And what
the-
can we expect on that channel? Is it just stuff about your bass playing and stuff? And
Well, I got the Facebook, which I sometimes put some music up on and clips, but
So you got
I've
Facebook
really
as well.
took that down, started it afresh. But you can send me a message
Yeah.
or ask me a question if you want.
okay, that's brilliant. Okay, well, thanks for coming on, Robert. Is there anything? Yeah,
Yes, there was. The studio, how is it you're going to reset up your studio to expand into the YouTube world?
Well, that's a very good question, Robert. I'm glad you asked that, because we're in the process of building a server. Me being a tech and Dan being a studio expert, we're going to be doing a new server for Pro Tools to do plugins, so we can limit the processing power of our main studio computer and then split it on a little network.
Watch the videos.
So we're going to get a video on that. So yeah, you can watch that, and I understand you're into a little bit of computers as well yourself. So
you save memory, will you? And it'd be quicker.
So basically, it's going to be a server that will take just the plugins, so for the live streams and recordings that we do. So it saves processing power on the main computer. So it's
up in the cloud.
Better check it works first.
Yeah, better check it works. But no, in theory, it's supposed to free up memory on the main machine so that it can run more, and then the plugins will use another machine.
It's not Pro Tools software; it's Linux.
It's a Windows machine. It's a Windows based machine, not Linux, because
all the plugins
are for Windows.
Of course,
and obviously.
Are you getting any support for Pro Tools to do this, or is this basically your...
This is just us doing
it's your idea.
Tinkering, isn't it? Yeah, you know, it's what we do, and it's...
it's us.
It's us. It's just our thing. So we'll expect to see you down here more often, in Robert, and then, like I say, thanks for coming in, and we'll do another interview with you about...
We'll do another finding us, and thanks for coming down.
Yeah, I'll be here to volunteer with my white coat on. And
well, you got the gold hat on today, so...
Yeah, I'm privileged. Thank you for that.
We'll need that for the next guest, but you can wear that next time as well.
Yeah.
And we'll interview a bit more about your band life and stuff like that. So
thank you very much, Dan.
You're on here again, Geezer. Shitrh for now.
Oh, yeah.
Shitrh for now.
Shitrh for now.
The two Dans would like to thank you for your support. Who's hanging out on the couch? Podcast Extravaganza.